Greetings and welcome to another excellent World of Tanks video. Today I'm going to tell you that starting Tuesday, the 27th of February 2024, the Tusk contract will be available. For those of you who are wondering, maybe there's something you've heard about it or things you don't know, the Tusk is a tier 10 contract. It is a light tank. It has the same turret as the Sheridan. And there are some things about the Tusk contract that I can help you with because I'm one of the idiots who did it. And I say that jokingly. But in all honesty, if you're going to do a tier 10 contract, you're kind of an idiot. All right? The good kind, but I'm just saying. The reason I say idiot is because the tier 10 contracts are very long. The minimum time essentially will be a month to complete the contract. It's long and boring. In fact, I call these contracts prisons. My friends were doing the Chisel contract, which is a different tier 10. And this was September, October of 2022. So they were like, hey, I'm doing the Chisel contract. And my other friend was doing it. I'm like, oh, man. This is probably the time to do a tier 10 contract because those idiots, trust me, we're all idiots on this one. They're doing the Chisel, so they're going to be doing tier 10 contract stuff. So I was toying with the idea of doing the Tusk contract. So I took it up. Two main reasons why. Number one, I'm really good in light tanks. Number two, it was the shortest tier 10 contract of the three. That part was genius. Now the Tusk tank it's an okay tank. It's a fun tank, but I would not rate it as a difference maker tank. You really don't want to be stuck at the end of a match in a Tusk as the last man standing because it has like a 13.5 second reload in that ballpark. So the reload on this gun is not good. However, the Tusk is useful, but primarily you have to understand how to play this. And if this appeals to you and you think, I can do this, then it's worth having. If you want to put up with going to Tusk prison like I did. And the Tusk, in my evaluation, is not a traditional light tank. It's not super speedy. It's like 78 speed, which isn't bad, but it's not great. The gun reload is terrible, but it has value if you are a defensive player who can play the role of defensive rover. That's what it's really best for. It's got decent speed, and it can assist other guys, but it's not a top of the line defender or top of the line basically anything. But as a helping tank, it can get to help a teammate relatively quickly. As long as you don't get greedy, because you're not a superstar in this tank. So if you're able to mentally put yourself in position to assist other players, this could be the tank for you to get, because back as even in 2022, there weren't many options for tier 10 tanks that were cheaper or less involved. Normally, if you had a tier 10 fill in the blank, you spent a long time unlocking that tank, or you might have bought a premium tier 10 tank, which cost a fortune. So the Tusk was a kind of a middle ground for me, that it was a light tank, and it's a solid tank, but it took me about a month to get it. 28 to 30 days, whatever. But there's some things you're going to have to do in this tank that are not easy. And that's really one of the things that will slow you down. It slowed me down. So let me go and show you the basic thing that you have to do that's going to be a big deal. It was stage 3 or 4, maybe. Wasn't 3. And it wasn't 4. I guess it's 5. I don't know. There you go. Look at the goals. Deal 100,000 damage. And it'll take a while, but, no big deal. Here's the one. Assist with spotting damage that totals at least 1 times or equal to your maximum health in 8 battles. Deal 100,000 damage in any number of battles is not a problem. Assist with spotting damage that totals at least 1 times your maximum health in 8 battles. This is a toughie, because the thing is, your choices are, you can do this in like tier. Some of these can be done in tier 8. Most of these are tier 9 or 10. Or Cold War. And so I did it in Cold War with the light tank stuff. So I'm going to show you this kind of deal here. It should tell you. It's not showing us. Yeah, there we go. This is tiers 9 through 10 or Cold War. That's what makes it a problem. That most likely people don't have tier 9 or 10 light tanks. But Cold War, yes. And I'll show you this. Welcome to Fisherman's Bay. So I went to get a game in my Tusk to show you exactly how you should play the Tusk. Well, at least how I play it. To make best use of its capabilities, as far as I am able to anyway. And luckily for me, I got a game that was usable in the first match. That almost never happens. So hey, I'll take it and call it a win. So like I told you, in my opinion, the best way to play the Tusk is as a defensive rover, where I want to try and find opportunities to move and help my team. Could be right side, left side, whatever. Could be early in the match, or, might be delayed until later. But I saw this action happening over here. I saw this guy coming, charged him, shot him, and rammed him. Set him on fire. And the net that you will see later on is I got over 1,300 damage on him. Now I was going to close him out if I could. I was beaten to that by somebody else, and that's fine with me. I did my job. I assisted in the eradication of the other side's Tusk, which they had, so my Tusk beat their Tusk with help. Fine, I'm a helper. I'm not a superstar in this tank. Nobody is. That's the key. You have to be, confident enough in your own abilities and the limitations that you have in this tank to recognize you're not going to be a superstar in the Tusk. It's just almost impossible. I mean, you could get lucky. But if you do your job and do it well, people will think well of you, because those people that understand this tank will understand a good Tusk player when they see one in action. Or in my case, they'll understand that I was in a Tusk. No, I'm just kidding. If you play well, people will recognize it, and if they don't recognize it, they're not any good. So it doesn't matter what they think of you. See, that's how it works. Now, you could take that to its extreme and just start making baseless claims that, oh, they don't understand what I'm doing. But an honest guy knows when he's effective and when he's not. And man, I was effective right from the get-go. Saw that guy coming down that left channel, intercepted him, rammed him, and shot him. It was fantastic. It was one of the best early moves in a Tusk game I've ever had. So I was thrilled. And I've just been roving around trying to assist wherever I could. But I think this game will be a really good example of what you can expect from the Tusk if you decide to go after the contract. And that's one of the things about the Tusk, as well as the machine and the chisel. Whenever you see one, well, technically someone could use gold to buy their way through it, but it becomes super expensive, and I'm far too cheap to do that. So, you know, I got my Tusk the old-fashioned way. I earned it for nothing. I didn't pay any gold to pass any levels. Didn't happen, because that would defeat the integrity of the challenge of earning a tier 10 mercenary tank. You know, it's like I said, it's not for everybody. But if it's for you, fantastic. Ramming speed, and I couldn't get him because they whacked him. That's okay. You know, when you play a Tusk, you're going to have to be, satisfied to be in a secondary role. Hey, I can't complain. We won 11-0. So this is the Tusk. Now I'm going to show you the options you have in Cold War that make this a gettable tank and a doable contract. We are in Cold War. Let's start with the Blue Nation, and we'll work our way there. The Centurion 2, as you can see, I have this tank. This is a free starter tank if you don't have it. The reason you use the Centurion is you use this to unlock the FV-101 Scorpion and also the FV-107 Scimitar. Fantastic light tanks. Now you have some other ones available here from the M46A1, also a free starter tank. That one will unlock you a very good tank, which is the RU-251. In my testing, the RU-251 is a little inferior to the 101 Scorpion. However, it also runs down this tank destroyer and then 1, 2, 3, 4 rocket tanks. So for some of you, the RU-251 will be the best choice. For others, this 101 Scorpion will be the best choice, depending on what you want, because down the road, you can see here that the Scorpion 90 is an Era 2 version of the Scorpion. All right, and this goes down here to the VFM5, which is an Era 3 light tank, and then also it unlocks the Challenger 2 heavy tank. All right, here we're going to go to the Red Nation. And realistically, one of the things that I did was I used this Type 63I. This is a free tank. You can go get this immediately and start working on this contract. Now, this tank is inferior because its armor is weaker. It doesn't go quite as fast as either the RU-251 or the 101 Scorpion. However, it has a tighter turning radius. So that tight turning radius gives it a mobility or a maneuverability advantage over the other tanks. This could be, right up your alley, depending. So it's one of those things. I mean, you can't go wrong getting it and testing it out. It's literally free. I use this for the bulk of my Tusk contract, and it really helped me out a lot for it. So it is inferior defensively, but quite useful for this contract. There weren't any green tanks. Let's double check that. Yeah, there weren't any green independent light tanks, as you can see here. These are all mediums and heavies. But that M50 Sherman is a really nice medium tank. Again, it's a freebie. So these are your main options unless you want to go and buy a premium or premium, whatever. Premiums. RDFLT is a light tank. Very good. If you have this could work quite well because it's a very good tank. Because if you have it, you already know that. I didn't have this back then. It was not an option for me, so that's why I didn't mention it earlier. But a terrific light tank if you already have it. Object 934. I don't have this, and I really don't want it. It's not worth the price to me. I don't think it's that good. It does have a rocket, but you can do the BMP, which is the other thing I should, mention. We'll show it to you. But I really don't think, unless you have the 934, I wouldn't worry about getting it. It's not that big of a deal. Let's go check out the T-44 is the one, the very top line. You see this here, the PT-76. This is a tank that is best played as a sniper. If you do that, you can take care of this in a relatively short time. The third tank in this line is the BMP-1, a good light tank. A good light tank. Not as speedy as the RU-251 or the 101. So I would say the spotting is inferior for the BMP-1 in general to the 251 or the 101. But this is a good tank, and it's a rocket tank. And you get unlocks a BMP-2, another good tank. And I'm talking, when I say good tank, fully upgraded, it's a good tank. All right? BMP-2 and BMP-3. Again, those are rocket tanks. So it'll depend for you guys what is interesting to you. Now, here is one. This is my Tier 10 American XM551 Sheridan. This is a tank I got after I had the Tusk because it was really a long and annoying trip through the Tier 9 T49 and then the Sheridan here. I did it because eventually I was like, well, I kind of avoided it as long as possible. I go, oh, you idiot, you got to do this. Okay. I was like right there. And it was just sitting there like the sword of Damocles. Or in this case, it was the light tank of Damocles hanging over my head. There's the Sheridan. I'm like, oh, you're killing me. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll just do it, okay? But in my timeline, I did the Tusk first. And like I said, the Tusk is pretty good. Let's just go check this out. But it's not awesome. And that's the thing that you need to know. The Tusk is useful. And it's kind of fun to play a little bit, but it's not awesome. And that's its one weakness. So here, speed, reload assist. That's what my equipment is on this tank. Nothing complicated. Then you have repairs, gold, gold rations, and gold first aid. Pretty basic stuff. Your weapons. Now this is, instead of being, gold, I use, of course, silver for the big boy HE rounds. But we don't worry about that. Just wanted to show you the basic stuff on the Tusk. And, there is no upgrading. You get one opportunity, and you take what is there and use it. But the Tusk, it looks kind of cool. Like I said, it's got the same turret as the Sheridan. And it has that gun, and let's check out that reload. The reload on this gun, 16.06 seconds. It's kind of bogus, but there's not much you can do about it. That's why I say you use this as a defensive rover. Now, it goes down a little bit when you put a commander in here. I think it goes down to like 13 something. But, like I said, cool looking tank, fun to play. If you're trying to get a tier 10 light tank, it's kind of like the least intensive way to get one, because there's not many available. You can go through, the national lines to get them, but there's no tier 10 light tank to be had in the premium store. There's just none. There's only one tier 9, and that is the Warcraft Teethbreaker. Okay, so you're limited in tier 10 light tanks. If you're a light tank guy like I am, the Tusk is the only one you can get for tier 10 that isn't, that does not require a long grinding nation trip to go through. So that's why I picked it up. And it's effective. But again, you won't be a superstar in this tank. I mean, I've had good games where I killed 3 guys just by luck of the draw and being in the right place at the right time. So I wanted to give you, a heads up on this tank in case you're going to be interested in going after it. Because like I said, it's going to prison. Every day you get up and you're like, oh man, I got to play this again. Some days it's more exciting than others, okay? But this is the nature of the tier 10 contracts. The other ones, the Chisel and the Machine, are even longer. I finished my Tusk contract before my friends finished their Chisels because the Chisel was much longer. And every day I'd talk to them and try to give them a pep talk, so get on that, take care of business. And Top was, man, he was just really beaten down mentally on this Tusk. Not Tusk, Chisel. He was in Chisel prison, and brother, he said that was the correct name for it. It's a prison. You're stuck in prison until they parole you. So he got down to the last couple of days. I'm like, come on, dude, you got to do whatever. I'll run missions with you to help you out. It is a long, and I mean very long, trip through the Machine or the Chisel. And if you're not hardcore into that tank, it'll beat you down. This was beating me down a little bit, but I'm like, nope, I'm going to get this. It's a matter of principle. So it was easier to hang tough on this one because it's a little bit shorter. That was the key. So when I saw this was coming up, I thought, well, this is the perfect chance to make a video to show people the Tusk, give you a heads up on what to do or how you might want to tackle it if you're going to do it, and give you the heads up on what the obstacles are in this contract, which may warn you enough to go, yeah, I don't want to do that, or it's not the kind of tank I thought it would be. This dude is not something that rolls like 100. It's like 78. I forgot to check that part for you. Let's go look at that. This dude rolls, yeah, 78. That's, you can get 80, what, 80, it's 81 or 82 if we replace this. If we replace this, 82. This is your maximum speed. There's nothing else you can do to go faster than 82. Now you can use gasoline versus the first aid if you're going to play this again as a behind the lines assistance. You know, you see guys going in, he's going to attack a guy, and you can get over there and you can put it, instead of a one-on-one battle with your guy versus their guy, you can help your guy and make it a two-on-one. Things of that nature. But you cannot go out there, and the reload prevents you from being, you know, Captain America. You're just not going to roll out there and dog somebody because your reload is trash. You're going to have to be part of a multi-tank attack, 2 or more. It's just common sense. So that's the thing you have to keep your mind open towards, is the style of play of this tank that you're going to need to be successful. And if that does appeal to you, great. If it doesn't appeal to you, well, then I've done you a favor and warned you in advance so you don't kill yourself for this tank that you're going to go, ugh, this thing is awful. That would be horrible. It's not awful. For me, I'm a light tank freak. And if you're not a light tank freak, you might not be that interested. But again, it's up to you. I just wanted to give you the heads up, things to look out for, what you're going to have to do or use to get it, which we covered that as well, and the style of play that's best suited for this tank. And if that fits you, awesome. And like I said, remember, you're going to spend 4 to 8 weeks, depending, daily basis, pound a rooski, pound a rooski, pound a rooski. And man, those 8 games where you have to spot, you know, equivalent to your hit points, it was like 1,500 spotting to get the qualification. Man, and it is tough. Cold War spotting is a little different than World War II, but the thing is, going through that helped make me an even better light tank player, especially in the spotting. So it has another hidden value, is it will make you a much better spotting, damage player if you go through this contract and earn this tank. So that's part of the achievement process. That number one, it's like, well, there's only 2 kinds of players. You've either done a tier 10 contract successfully or you haven't. And I'm not saying that not doing it makes you inferior, but if you have done a tier 10 contract, it's like your friends will know, and it's like, well, you know, he did a tier 10 contract, so he's an idiot. Well, I mean, if you do a tier 10 contract, you're a certain type of idiot, but it's the good kind. But you're going to feel like an idiot. You're going, why in the hell did I do this again? I'm in prison. Like I said, I graduated Tusk prison, and my boys Top and Armored Wraith, they graduated from Chisel prison. Okay, and man, I really am going to tell you this funny joke that when I finished my Tusk contract and I was talking to Top, you know, he was still going through. He had a couple of weeks left or whatever. I told him, you know, I decided I was gonna go and do, you know, start the Chisel. He's like, really? He goes, that's awesome. I go, yeah, I'm gonna start that Chisel. I'm gonna go and finish it right up to, I think, stage 5, where I get the 3 days of premium, and I'm gonna get the hell out of there. And he goes, you jerk. You think I'm an idiot? I'm not doing Chisel or Machine unless someone's actually gonna pay me for that stupidity. Because I might be an idiot, but I'm not an idiot. Whereas Peter Griffin would say, I may be an idiot, sir, but there's one thing I am not, and that is an idiot. So there you go. Take it from Peter Griffin. So I hope that this instructional session helps you make a decision, plus or minus, on the Tusk. It's not for everybody, but there, is an additional learning benefit from it. So if you decide to do the Tusk, that's awesome, and I wish you the best of luck. If you have watched this video and decided, oh no, I don't want any part of that, well then I consider that to be a success, because I don't want you to get stuck in Tusk prison realizing that what you get in the end is not what you thought you were going to get. So that is really the whole thing. So I hope you guys could leave a like for this video. That way other players would get the chance to watch this and figure out if this Tusk contract is for them or not. Tell your friends if you would. That would give them a chance to learn about it, like, and possibly subscribe as well. That is basically it. We've covered the Tusk contract in good detail. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment. Ask me the questions. I'll be glad to answer them for you, help you out in this decision, because it's not really an easy, quick decision to make for most people. So I want to thank you guys for watching, as always. It was great to have you here. I look forward to you in another video, and I will see you soon, hopefully. Thanks again.